You saw that Pep and his charges, charging up against the Wolves. The 3 points is most important. In this league, the goal matters, but for records, it's important to pick the 3 points most vital. Guys, let me start off with you, Gray. I mean, for Southampton, they are about to, get onto another record. Probably maybe if there's a word after worse, then that's the perfect description for they're going to be the worst ever, to have entered the Premier League and go down in that order, isn't it?
Joint West, I think. Because then they'll be counting have 11 points. So there's still hope that they can be better. Great. So I'm hoping for their sake they will be better.
Okay.
This is not going to be the match where they make it better. If they get a point, I'll be very surprised. Man City should calmly and easily get the 3 points. Look, as they say, Dr. Southampton is there for you. When you're feeling down and out, you do something for you. So, look, Man City, they've been not as impressive as we know them to be, but things are picking up. Haaland seems to be coming back. De Bruyne seems to be the fittest he's been for the last 2-3 years. I mean, the other players Mamouche seems to be fitting in nicely. So it's exciting times for Man City in the sense that I think they'll secure the Champions League qualification for sure. Arteta is convinced that they'll finish above Arsenal. And look, I was a bit more skeptical, but as the weeks are going on, I'm starting to see his point of view more and more because I think Arsenal have slowed down a bit and Man City seems to have a very nice, easy run of games to finish the season. So
I told you that about Arsenal the last time we had a car park, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's not done. So we should have to wait.
No, I still disagree because the point you're making.
You're saying we should be calm.
No, but I'm saying the point you're making, we won't even get into it, but it doesn't apply. Right. So for Man City, look, very easy game. But for Southampton, they should start thinking about what they are doing next season. They should be looking at the players who they can keep. They should have conversations with the players who wants to go, who's ready to stay, and that kind of stuff. Because there's wage cuts involved and all sorts of things. So they should be planning for next season. Right now, anything right now is it's a waste of everyone's time. But you are mandated to play the game, so they are playing the games. But I don't see them doing much for. But if they give us a good show and win some points, I'll clap for them. I'll be very happy. But fantastic. I don't see it happening.
No, he does not see it happening. Yeah. What maybe we all might want to envisage happening is the fact that they've got some players who are good. You feel it is the time for them to put a price tag and start the restructuring at the get-go in the next transfer window?
I'm picking back off what Susu said. This is the right time to really put your priorities in place when it comes to the upcoming season, because at the end of the day, you've already been relegated. Your relegation to the championship has been confirmed, and so this is the point where you really need to look at the players that you can sell. And they have some quality players that they can sell. You look at Tyler Diblin, for instance. He's one guy that, a lot of teams are quite interested in him. And he's young. He's a creative player. He can play in multiple positions in that forward area. Can play as a support striker. Can play in that hole behind the striker. Can play as an inside forward too. And so he's one guy that you really need to look out for. Unfortunately, he's picked up a couple of injuries, so he's not playing as many games as he should, because he being available and showing what he can do is the best way to advertise. It is the best way to advertise him and try to get his value a bit up, so that he can get maybe a couple of millions of pounds on top of what you might be able to get on a natural or a daily basis when it comes to negotiation for his sale. Kamaldeen Sulemana is another. He's a bit of an enigma, because you can see the potential there, you can see the talent there, you see the speed, you see the creativity, but you ask yourself, where's the production?
That's it.
That's one, and the availability is also an issue. It hasn't come up in recent times over the past 3 months, but at the beginning of the season, he was barely available, and so he is a bit of an enigma, a big issue, a big question mark, because you just don't know what to do with him. Do you sell him? If you sell him, will you be able to get enough value from that sale, or even a loan, or do you keep him? Can he help you get back into the Premier League, as in gain promotion from the Championship to the Premier League? That's a bit of an issue with Kamaldeen Sulemana. Then you have to look at maybe Alcaraz. A couple of players, Walter Peters, Kyle Walker Peters, he's a free agent, and so you can't count him as part of your plans moving forward. I see him leaving, and I think he will be an excellent pick for any team that decides to sign him. Top level value signing, because what he gives as a wing back, not as a defender, and that's one of the issues that I've had with Southampton and with their coaching and how they handle the personnel. He is not at best a defender. He's at best a wing back, and that's how you should use him. But consistently, they line up in the back four up until recently that they started lining up in the back three, and at that time the damage had already been done, and it was clear that they were bound to get relegated. And so yeah, Southampton, this is the point. Ever since their relegation was confirmed, if I'm part of the management, you definitely have to start looking into the future, looking at the players that you can sell, you can loan out in order to get some money to cushion the team once they take that big blow of getting relegated into the championship. You don't have that Premier League money flowing through. And so for this game, yeah, it's just for academic purposes. They will try as much as possible to ensure that they get a point so that they do not get attached or associated with that dreadful record of having just 11 points in the Premier League campaign. And so that's what they'll be fighting for in the immediate term. But long term, it's all about selling players, loaning them out, and who to cut and who to retain. But for this game, yeah, I see Man City winning it because they look to be heading to that spot where they were operating at before. So for me, Man City straight win. But for Southampton, I see them picking up a point to beat that unfortunate record in the subsequent games, the two remaining games. I see them picking up a point, but not this game.
I think one of their last game is Arsenal. So what's the game before that? Or you think they'll get the point?
I think they'll get a point in one of their last two games. Yeah, I don't see them finishing with 11 points. I just don't see it. I think they are just good enough to beat that big county's record.
This is week 36. You got two more games.
I think they are just good enough.
You get it.
Beyond this round.
Beyond this one.
Two more games. I think they are good enough to
I
beat
think the producer
Derby.
should check
with
us
Derby
what's their last,
County's
because I know they're
record.
playing City and then Arsenal.
Now do
So
that
I'm
for
wondering what's the game in between.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the one they'll pick up the points.
So they're doing Everton and Arsenal.
Oh,
I think they can get a point against Everton, or even a win.
maybe Everton won't care. Maybe Everton will be relaxed.
Yeah.
Maybe Everton will take it easy
because there's
on
nothing
them.
really at stake.
I think they are good enough to get more than 11 points.
This one I don't see it, to be honest. I think they'll lose all three. But hey, let's hope for good things.
But what then should be the reaction? A quick comeback into the Premier League or stay in the Championship for a minute? Southampton.
You see, all of it. This is a business they are running, and the financial, modeling will tell you that staying in the Championship does not help you at all.
Okay.
You need to come back and get your money as soon as possible. And there's also money when you are relegated that keeps you above the Championship. You get some extra, they call them parachute payments, so that your fall from grace is not too difficult. So you get about 3 years of parachute payments. So these are the type of things that will help you kind of compete in the Championship. But we've seen that if your Championship doesn't go well, like Luton Town have recently just got relegated back to back. So it can happen if you are not well run, you are not very smart about what you do in the Championship. But we are seeing the Championship teams get relegated a lot, and it means that they need to rethink what they do in the Championship and what work in the Premier League, and whether the styles are too. You can't go from trying to play like Barcelona or Man City in the Championship. Then you come into the Premier League and you have to now start playing like an Everton or a Nottingham Forest. I think it's very difficult for teams to go from one to the other, but it looks like that's what you have to do, because it looks like that trying to play that open, expansive style, it doesn't work. Because look at the teams that have solidified themselves and kind of kicked on. Brentford, they've been very direct. They play their own way. Nottingham Forest is, they've had a scattergun approach, but they've been very direct. They've never been a slick passing team. So it looks like the model is be direct, be brave, but you just can't say you are going to play and attack other teams head on, because you are not there yet. So to be interested to see how next season plays out. But considering what we know about Southampton, I expect them to come straight back up. I think it won't be a long, maximum 2 years. If they don't come back in 2 years, I think it will be a long stay in the championship.
So
And
just
a quick one, and I'm glad Susu touched on that conservative approach for the teams that gain promotion from the championship in order to increase or boost their chances of staying in the Premier League.
Sure.
And I'll give you an example. Ipswich Town, for instance, you look at their points build-up and how they've played. You can just imagine that if they tightened up a little bit at the back, they would have been able to stay in the Premier
They
League.
dropped a lot of leads. I think they took the lead in about maybe 14, 15 games.
They would have been able to stay in the Premier League.
Maybe they lost maybe 8 of them,
Yeah.
and then drew another like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
So
they would have been able to easily stay in the Premier League. But Kieran McKenna kept on, opening up, attacking football all the time instead of, just trying to manage the games at some point. And unfortunately, that came back to bite them very hard. But this is the approach. I have been preaching it for a while. This is the approach that teams need to take once they gain promotion to the Premier League, because the chances that you were giving away that went unpunished in the Championship, those chances, 8 out of 10 won't go unpunished in the Premier League.
And
you look
also-
at Burnley, for instance. They
and
conceded
those-
16 goals.
And also those chances will come a lot more.
Yes.
There will be a lot more chances for you to be punished. So when the first one you get off, you might not get off on the second
Yes.
or third.
Absolutely.
But in the championship, it might happen once in a
or
game. All
twice.
of those things.
Yeah, that's it. So you run the numbers, and once you play that kind of game, it's a bit too risky, and that's why quite a number of teams gain promotion to the Premier League, and almost instantly they get relegated.
There's this I want to talk about before we move to our next game. Take a look at the Chelsea-Liverpool game and talk a bit about Chelsea and what's going to happen at the St. James Park. But, I mean, Aaron Ramsdale is a goalkeeper. I feel he's young.
Yeah.
He's in this setup that's getting relegated.
Yeah.
He's English.
Yeah.
There's a need for him to up his performance to probably get a shot because of his age in the English national team.
Yeah.
You feel he should move or probably maybe better his performance? To you first.
I don't think it's fair to talk about keepers in certain teams and their performance. Because if you look at save percentage as a statistic, you see that the save percentage range for starting keepers is about 65 to 75%. It's a very small range. So basically, from the average, it's about 5% plus 5 minus 5. So what actually matters is the number of shots a keeper is facing. And the truth is, if you are playing for Southampton, you are facing 20 shots a game. True. Just as an example, I don't know the exact numbers versus Ederson, who's facing 2.
Okay.
You are going to concede more. There's because you're not going to save everything. You get what I'm saying? So, because if you look at it, Ederson like this, Ederson can have a very low save percentage, maybe one of the lower ones of starting keepers in the league. But his clean sheets will be a lot because he might face 1 shot on target, 2 shots on target, a lot of his games. Yeah. But if you are Ramsey, you are facing 5 or 6 a game. And even if you save 5 out of 6, what would that be? That's like 80-something percent.
89%.
5 out of 6 is like 80-something percent. That's amazing. But it means you concede 1 every game. So I don't think it's fair to say that, a keeper in this team has to increase his performance just by looking at goals conceded. I think it's a bit unfair. I think there's a lot of numbers like goals prevented. So it kind of measures where the ball, like, we have a nice rectangle, that's the goal. Where in that nice rectangle the ball is to give a probability of a shot. So obviously the top corner has a higher probability than the middle.
Absolutely.
So if the goal is going to the top corner, it's difficult for the keeper to save. So these are the type of things I think it's fair to look at your performance. Like, okay, how many goals has he prevented? What's the XG of the shots he's faced? How many shots on target has he faced? How many mistakes has he made? I think those are a better indicator of performance than just, Southampton have gone down. Ramsdale is their keeper. He's not done well. I think it's a bit unfair to the keeper. I think there's a lot more conversation to go around these things. That's just
what's your conversation around this particular
I think his timing is a little bit off. He goes to the wrong team at the wrong time, despite the fact that he's a good goalkeeper.
I mean, he's valued at 15 million.
Relegations.
It's a bit too much.
Like, I try to be fair to everyone, but 3 relegations, there's something there.
Yeah, there's something there, but look, you have to look at it from the standpoint I delivered earlier. Look, the timing needs to be on point because one, he's not a ball-playing goalkeeper, but he goes to Southampton that requires the goalkeeper to play out from the back. And unfortunately, they are a team that does not have defenders who are exactly comfortable with the ball or expert passers of the ball at the Premier League level.
Yeah.
At the Championship level, they were fine. But at the Premier League level, where the press is more coordinated, better coordinated, players are faster, and players are well drilled and experienced enough to sniff out the possible angles of possible areas that you pass into and can cut it out, it will be a problem. And so he doesn't fit the philosophy of the team per the coaches that they've had this season.
Yeah.
That's Russell Martin and Ivan Juric. And that's one. And number two, you double down on that issue or that problem by having players who aren't necessarily expert passers of the ball when pressed as defenders. And so in that situation, you are at the wrong place at the wrong time. You get my point.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel that he hasn't been a little bit lucky, and maybe he needs to look at his choices.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Like moving forward, he needs to look at the team and ensure that when I'm picking this next team, it should align with the way I play, and it should align with how they are able to best protect me as a goalkeeper. Because he was with Bournemouth when they got relegated before they got back into the Premier League, and at that time, Bournemouth lost a couple of defenders in I think in that season, and Eddie Howe resigned just when the slide started, and they ended up getting relegated. So in that sense, you are not getting the required protection that every goalkeeper needs. Even the best goalkeepers need a little bit of protection, and so in that sense, yeah, he got bereft of the protection, considered a lot of goals. They ended up getting relegated. And for Southampton, like I enumerated earlier, he was a bad fit right from the get-go. And on top of that, they didn't have the best of players to be able to execute or play out the philosophy of the coaches.
Great. Let's get into another game. I mean, we spent a lot of time on this because we need to put a spectacle also on a team that's going down and how they can come back to make the greatest league in the world quite super interesting.